Morning, guys. Today we're going to be planting some asparagus. Got a couple different types to plant today. These are the Jersey Giants. These are the ones that I normally grow. Put them in a bunch of pots, put them around the property. These work well if you put them in with other things, so you can grow some other crop and then have these underneath coming up as well. These take a couple of years for you actually to get them up before you get asparagus out of them that are big enough to eat. So I like to get these when I'm starting a new pot like this. I like to get some asparagus in there as well. Then as things are growing, as whatever else I'm growing up starts to come up, it'll help feed some of the nutrients back down to the asparagus. Now you can see this this soil that I've got here. I make my own soil. I've got a couple different videos on making my own soil. I make this out of 1/3 vermiculite, 1/3 peat moss, and then I add 1/3 compost. You can buy compost, or I make my own compost. I've got a bunch of chickens, I've got animals on the property that I collect all their stuff together in a pile, and then I just break it down. Now this is an old potato, so as I throw things in here, food scraps and things, sometimes I end up with those in here as well. It's not going to matter too much here. It does matter when I make my own soil over here though, because if I make my own soil over here, I make the little squares, and when I put the little squares together, it's important that I end up with something that's fine enough. Like you can see the little square here. I need to make sure that the stuff's fine enough so that when I stamp it out with my stamper, which is this little guy right here, that the dirt comes out and I end up with a nice square, nice even material. If I have too much in here, if I were to stamp this out, if I were to get a big clump in there of something, or if I get sticks and things in there like this, then I end up having a problem because the stick will be sticking out the side, or it'll break when I try and bring it out. This thing will break my square up. So this is this pour right here is more for a big container like this. So I didn't strain this. I've still got a bunch of big stuff in there, which is fine for what we're doing today. First thing I do, get a good layer in there. And I've got a special head on here. I use this for watering everything that I've got in my greenhouse. It puts out a very fine mist, but a very strong mist, so that I can get it all together all at once, and I can get some volume in there. If the sprayers are too fine, you're not going to get the volume, and you're going to be sitting there forever trying to spray. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just making a top for where I'm going to put the asparagus. Your asparagus likes to sit on something, so I'm just getting it a little bit wet just so that I can make it more malleable, more pliable for what we're about to do. That should be good. Take out a few of the bigger things. Now I'm going to be putting in 6 of them in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3, 4, 5, and then I think I'll put my 6th one right here in the middle. I'm going to make some little hills for these guys to sit on. Now, do you have to do this? Well, you don't have to, but if you want to be more successful with your asparagus, then you're going to want to have little hills for them to sit on. So now I've got 6 little hills in there. Take one of the bags of stuff here, open it up, cut the top off, which I already did just because I didn't want to take the time to do it when we got that far. And they usually come with 3 in a bunch. And when they come, they'll come like they do right here. And the 3 that you'll get will be rubber band together. You're gonna need to take the rubber band off. Don't throw it in without taking the rubber band off, or you're not gonna have a good crop of asparagus coming out of there. And luck of the draw, sometimes you get nice healthy ones like that. Sometimes you get smaller ones like that. But these are the ones that we're going to be using. Now there's two different types. This is the Jersey Giant that I've got here. I've also got these purple ones. And these are the Purple Passions. And I'm going to be putting those in as well. But I'm going to be putting those into these little pots right here. Because I'm going to want to plant those somewhere else. So for right now, I'm just showing you how we put them into the big one. Now, you're going to want to separate this like an octopus's legs. And kind of spread them out a little. And sit them just like that. Now, I'm going to do a healthy one, and then I'm going to do a smaller one next to it. Kind of like that. So that I don't have all the healthy ones on one side and all the little ones on the other side. I want to have a mixture of the two. I like the healthy ones. The other ones may just be a little younger. That might be why they're not quite so strong looking, but that's okay. Now, some people say you should soak these before you do this. I'm not a real fan of soaking them because then it's harder to work with them, and now you've got your hands all covered in water while you're doing this, and then all the dirt sticks to it, and it's harder to get the dirt to let go as you're building your little hills here. Okay, so now I've got six little guys here, all sitting up on their little perches, all about the same distance from each other. Now what I'm going to do is give it just a little bit of water, just to get those started. And then I've got some dirt that I made here on the side, and we're just going to start layering that dirt in on top of them, nice and easy, to get this whole thing covered up and filled. Be careful as you're pouring this around that you don't knock them off of their little hills. If you do, start over. Don't just say, well, you know, that one will just have to do on its side. They don't do good on their sides. Okay, so we're going to stop right there, because like I said, this asparagus is going to take years before I can actually eat an asparagus out of this. This is just what came with the asparagus stuff. I always like to just put that in there, just because I don't want to waste that dirt. Okay, so now we've got the asparagus in there. Now I'm going to break open some seeds, and I'm going to make this I'm going to make something else grow in here as well on the top. But just for the purposes of this tutorial right here, if you will, helpful little farm tips. This is all you have to do to get an asparagus bucket running. And then give it a good watering on the top. That peat moss, all that water I just put in there is just going to get soaked up. None's going to come out of the bottom of it. That peat moss is like a sponge, and it's just going to really hold that water for you. So you're not going to have to water as often, and you're going to have a much healthier plant in the long run with all that water that it retains. The vermiculite, the little shiny stuff that you see in here, that vermiculite is going to act like a sponge as well and hold on to that water and then let it out nice and slow. So you're gonna really be happy with that if you're using those three things. which are part of the square foot garden stuff that we put together. Well, thanks for watching. Good luck with yours.